We just met at the Anarchocapitalismo event in Florianopolis, and you two were organizing it. Maybe we could talk about the idea behind the event a little bit, because you were also talking about fragoismo, as you call it in Portuguese. Could you give us an idea what it is?
The event is about practical solutions to implement the individual sovereignty. So we want to tell people how, like, many tools that they can use to be more sovereign in their lives and be more independent and free. So many different people are talking about this subject, but the idea is to help you be more free in your life right now, like with practical solutions.
So it's a kind of libertarian idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Anarchist libertarian. The difference between libertarian and anarchists is, like, libertarians, they still believe in the minimum state, like a very small state that do justice or health or education, these kind of things. But like anarchists, we don't think we need the state to do everything, because we don't agree with the premise of the state, because the state uses violence to get money from people with force to pay for stuff that they tell you you need their help, you know? And we believe the free market is the civilized way to organize society, that you don't need to use force against people to have a civilization and people organize themselves. Voluntarism is the idea that every relation in society should be voluntary. So no one needs to use force and mandate that other people join in their project. So if you have a business idea, or if you want to build a bridge, or if you want to build a road or something, you can just, like, find other people that want to do the same thing, and then you join forces and build. You know, you don't need centralized power that has the right to force people to do.
Right.
They don't have the right. So they say they have the right to use force against people that are not harming anyone. So, and then they take your money and do stuff that they tell you it's necessary. So that's the only way we can organize society, is by using force against people that are just living their lives.
And by force you mean also imposing taxes, like impostos on people?
Because if you think about taxes, well, if you don't pay taxes, you get problems, right? You get a fine, and if you don't pay the fine, they call you in the court. And if you don't go to court, they will come with guns and take you to jail. So at the end, it's violence. But usually don't arrive to this point because people give up before and they pay because they're afraid. But there is like a threat behind every relation with the state. That it means, if you don't agree or if you don't follow my rules, I will use force. And I will kidnap you and put you in jail if you don't agree. So, like, that's the baseline from governments. They start like this, and then they use nice words to convince people that that's okay and that's legitimate, you know. But it's not true. It's like,
they are the cool guys. Oh, I'm a cool guy.
Yeah, I help the poor, and I build the roads, and you know. But actually, they're just like a gang that use violence to make everybody pay for whatever they say is necessary.
I guess from what I get is you have a very positive image of the person, like of the people, of the human.
Oh, it's the opposite.
It's the opposite, because what people, like, when they try to justify the existence of government, they say, if we don't have government, people would just start killing each other in the streets. Because they're selfish, right? Mm-hmm. But what government is, government don't exist. What exists are people that represent government. But they're still the same people. So if you say that people are selfish, why these people that work for government are not selfish? They're the same people, you know? So, but they have the power to use violence against people. So you're giving a gun to someone and say, once they have the gun, they will be nice. Like, that's the belief in government. So it doesn't make any sense.
No, but
I don't believe people are nice. I believe people are nice and people are bad, and you know, it varies. But I don't want anyone with power to use a gun against me for any reason they think it's okay.
We believe that people are selfish, and when you have a central power, they will still selfish, and then they have more power to use to against with the
against
people.
us, yeah.
But then how can a society work without the government who is regulating them if they are selfish?
Yeah, that's how it works everywhere. Like when you go to a bakery to buy bread, there's no government there, you know. That you have people that decide to make a business, and they decided, I'm going to make bread and I'm going to sell to anyone that wants to buy it. So that like all relations in society are based in voluntary choice. All the markets, everything you do, like when you are in your friend's house, not because it's their house they're going to harm you, you know? Like all society works in an anarchist way. The only people that use violence are government. They're the only ones that start the relationship with violence, you know, and we don't need that because we can organize ourselves without violence, with voluntary decisions, because why not, you know?
So, but I didn't get it entirely. So you're saying that the people, would voluntarily cooperate or not? Yeah, they would, because it's good for them. So they would work together.
We already do that all the time.
When you buy a bread, you and the baker are winning in this case.
Winning.
Yeah.
You both, because the market is the only, like, you have trade only when both sides win. Because I want to sell...
Voluntary trade.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to sell you a bottle of water. And he wants to buy the bottle of water. So I said, so I think this costs €2. Okay? And then he will say, yeah, I agree with that. Okay, then we change. What does that mean? I prefer to have €2 and he prefers to have the water. Right? Otherwise he will say no. If I tell him it's €20 the water, he will say no. I don't want to buy a bottle of water for €20. That's too much for me. I don't agree. So voluntary trade happens when both sides are winning because they're both happier at the end. You know, if he tells me, when I give you 50 cents, I would say, no, I don't want 50 cents, I want more. So once we both agree with the price, then the transaction happens. So we both win. I win because I have €2 and he wins because he has the bottle of water.
A associação do governo é única que lado ganha e outro perde.
So with government, they say, we need money for security. So you need to pay half of your salary for a whole year because we will put money in security. Doesn't matter if you agree or not. You need to pay. And if you're unhappy, you cannot say anything. You cannot change. You cannot say, no, I don't need security. I'm fine. I have my own way of protection. Doesn't matter. You have to pay. You know? Even if you don't pay, they will use force to make you pay.
In this trade,
What is your suggestion instead? So what are you thinking of? How should our society look like? In its
There's a difference between how I want a society to look like and what I think it's wrong. Okay? Because I don't have all the solutions. But I know that using force against peaceful people is not okay. It's not okay to start using violence. So it doesn't matter if people don't believe a different type of society would work or not. It's wrong to violate people's property in the first place. So our solution will be free market. So people would organize themselves in private cities or private neighborhoods that people would join if they want. We will have laws and rules or
Contractual.
with contracts. Everybody living there would sign a contract with all the rules. So that's how you should behave here, because anarchism is not about absence of laws. It is an absence of the ruling class and the servants.
It's an absence of a central power, actually.
Exactly. Yeah. So we believe in rules, and we think rules are necessary for people to interact in a nice way. But these rules will be set up before you join, and then you join if you agree with the rules or not.
Voluntary.
It's voluntary. So, and you go to a city with so here are the rules to live in this city. And then another city will have other rules. Mm-hmm. And then you have a competition between cities to find the best rules or to provide best service, Mm-hmm. There is actually a good book about that, Free Private Cities, from Titus Goebbels. He is German. He explains how it all could work. It doesn't needs to be that way, but that's an option, Mm-hmm. And then people with free trade, they would compete and then find better solutions, but everything should be voluntary. So that's the only rule, is every relationship should be voluntary. Mm. And we should never use force against peaceful people. Mm-hmm. And then many different ways of organizing society can come from that.
And you're also talking about blockchain, so about crypto. How does that help, and what's the idea about it in this anarchic capitalism?
So the blockchain, it works like cartório. Cartório is
the register center.
Where the government registers everything. This land belongs to this person. Okay, and they write down and put a stamp. The blockchain it's a public place where you have all the information, and anyone can see this information. So if I register that this land is mine, my name, and the time and the place, I can put it there, and everyone else can see that this belongs to me, and no one can change that. It's immutable, so it's forever there online. Mm-hmm. So we will use the blockchain not only as money, but Bitcoin is inside the blockchain, so it's better money that's not controlled by government. And we have also this cartório that you can organize property and ownership of properties.
Business.
Yeah, contracts, you can register contracts between people. So you have eternal proof of the information, You have free information when anyone can see. Mm-hmm. Unmutable, no one can change.
We believe that technology changed the communication, and the communication changed the governance. We are now with the internet. We need another governance style, another governance model. You can centralize the power, or you can decentralize the power. And the decentralized way is the more efficient way. And have the DAOs. The DAOs is the decentralized autonomous organization.
Mm-hmm. What is it doing?
It's like a company that you have this company in blockchain. All decisions are decentralized and have the correct motivation. Incentive. And you can check have corruption. We can program send money to marketing, safety, security.
Before you start the organization, you can have preset rules of how the money will be spent, and you cannot change the rules. So you don't have political corruptions inside the entity.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the rules and you cannot change that. They will be auto-programados. They will be executed without anyone needing to do anything. So once the money arrives there, it already goes to the right places where it was set before. That's like smart contracts, and everything is done automatically.
You can vote with a correct incentives, like a company. If you have one share, you have one vote. If you have 10 shares, you have 10 votes.
Yeah.
And then you have the real if you take a wrong decision, you pay in your pocket.
What he said is like, if you're a shareholder of a company, once you have more participation, you have more power to vote. It's different than democracy in how we see today, that everyone has the same power to vote. In companies, it's not like that. The person that put more money has more say, because he invested more and he has more to lose. But his choices will be based in a good incentive, because he wants the company to be profitable, because he put in his money there. So he does not want the company to fail, because if the company goes bankrupt, he lost his money. So that's how companies work. And we will bring that same mentality to the governance of cities and everything. So if you're you're a shareholder of the private city, for example, you invested that, and you only vote for decisions that make economic sense, that make sense for the city to be a good place. You're not voting with I will vote for my friend because I like him. He's terrible in his job, but he's my friend, so I will vote for him to take the job. You won't do that if you are paying for his salary, right? You will choose the best person.
And in the democracy order, have the same power of the best
businessman.
The best businessman in the city, Don't have they have the same
vote,
same
power.
Power.
But isn't like this idea a little bit undemocratic, that if you have more shares, you have more power?
Yeah.
Yes.
For we, the democracy is face to fail.
Democracy is a very bad system, actually. It doesn't make much sense. But people are taught that that's the best system, and we are not allowed to quit. Like in Brazil, for example, if you say that you don't agree with democracy, you can go to jail. But that's like, why this system is so good that if I disagree, I go to jail. That doesn't make sense. We believe that government and governance should work with a democracy, but everybody their family don't work as a democracy. Because if you have a family of 5, 2 parents and 3 children, the father earns a lot of money and said, how should we spend this money? He don't ask the children. He asks his wife, or he doesn't ask anyone because it's his money and he will use it in the best way for everybody. But if we worked as a democracy in our households, they will have to ask for the children. How should I spend this money? Should I pay my debt, or should we go to Disneyland? And the kids will say, well, let's go to Disneyland. And they are 3, and the adults are 2. So they lost.
Mm-hmm.
So we understand that democracy that don't make sense in this case, because of course children should not decide how to spend the money, because they're not earning the money, they're just spending the money, right? But in our society, we believe that people that get help from the government has the right to vote, but they're not paying. They're not earning money, they're not self-sufficient. And then we say, that's terrible, that people that cannot afford their own cost cannot vote, but that we all see that makes sense in our families. But then suddenly we don't agree with that once it starts with it's about governance. If we follow how we behave with logic and how we behave in every other aspect of life, we think and act in one way. But once we start talking about government, nothing makes sense. Like we just change all the way we think and start believing in something completely different that doesn't make sense. And we don't realize, like most people don't realize that makes no sense.
It's very unnatural.
It's not natural. It's not natural.
But that would mean for you also that you too would give up your rights in the end.
No, we will have rights because we don't have rights.
We don't have rights now. Have only one right.
Let's talk about rights. Yeah, so there are only 3 rights, okay? Life, property, and freedom. All the rest are privileges, okay? So I have my life. You have your life. I cannot take your life, right? Because it's yours. You have your body. I cannot harm your body because it's yours. You have your freedom to choose how you want to live your life. I don't have the right to tell you how to live your life. You see that everything is negative. My rights are mine and people cannot take them from me, but they are mine already. These are rights. This is what it means to have a right. But if you say you have the right for food, what does that mean? Food does not belong to me. It's something that I need to work for to have. In nature, that's how it is. Once you are born, there's not food around you, like food materialized in front of you and you eat whenever you're hungry. No, you need to go get food, right? You need to work. You need to hunt. You need to get water in the river. So these are not rights. So once you tell people that they have the right for a house, they have a right for food, they have the right for education, what you're saying is that other people are losing their right of property because someone else is getting a privilege. Because it's not a right, it's a privilege. It's different. Because what happens is, if a person has the right for education, you're taking money from someone else to pay for that education. It's not free. The teacher gets a salary. He's not working for free. It has a cost. Everything that has a cost is not a right, it's a privilege. So when you say we are losing our rights, actually, we don't have our rights.
You are taking back our...
Right now, we are trying to take back our rights, which are freedom, property, and life. Our property rights are non-existent because we're being stolen all the time to pay privilege to other people. We don't have liberty because we cannot criticize a system that we don't agree. So we don't have rights. For now, the only right we have is life. But I'm not sure for how long.
But shouldn't it be our goal to give people same chances to live a good life?
If you give them these 3 rights, freedom, property, and life, then they can start from the same point. But once you disrespect these basic rights, you're not helping. You're actually making it worse because then people cannot compete, right? Because if you have someone that's a very good businessman and then he makes a lot of money doing his job with voluntary trade, and then at some point you say, no, but you're earning too much money. So I'm going to take your money to pay for other people because they don't have money. You're destroying property there. And so the people that are trying to make business get scared because, okay, if I make too much money, they're going to steal my money. Okay. So you have wrong incentives, right? You're teaching people that You should be successful, but until this point, not more than that.
And you are in this system that we are living is very terrible for the poor, because they pay very much for everything. Everything have 30% of the product imposed. Taxes. More.
You cannot calculate how much taxes there in every product, but it's probably more than 90%. Because if you add all the steps from, for example, if you're planting something, you need fertilizers, you have taxes. If you buy a tractor, you have taxes. If you put diesel, you have taxes. If you hire someone, there's taxes. And then you have a
bureaucracy too.
And bureaucracy and inefficiency and everything. So everything is like so much more expensive than it should be. And then you have more like income tax and like trade tax, and like their taxes, like they're one over the other on top of each other, and it's like so much that we have no idea how much we're really paying to create a system that's telling us that they're necessary
to help the poor.
To help the poor, but the poor don't have money to buy food because they're being taxed all the time in everything they buy, you know.
And to help the poor, you have the charity.
I think people should not be hungry. Yeah, I do. But then I can make a donation, or I can open a business and hire people to work for me, and they can get a salary, and then they have money, you know. We live in Brazil, and Brazil has a lot of taxes and a lot of legislation and a lot of bureaucracy. And that's why there's so many poor people. That's the reason. You know, it's not because people in Brazil are dumber than in Europe and they cannot work. People work a lot here.
That's true.
But the government takes all their money all the time, you know. They have access to smartphones. They have access to smart TVs and internet. They have access to all technology and stuff. But they don't have access to education, health, and all the stuff that the government says they will provide, or clean water, you know? They don't have access to those things that are supposed to be government service. But they have access to all the bad capitalism system. They have access, you know? So, like, is really the government trying to help people? I don't think so.
Os pobres são uma justificativa para o Estado.
Yeah, so the more poor people have, the more necessity they tell, like it's necessary for the government. The justification for a government to exist are poor people.
Mm.
So what are the incentives to government to end poverty? They don't have the incentive. And we see that with this type of governments here. They want more people, more poor people, because the more suffering, the better for them. Because then they say, see, if you don't have us to help, it will be even worse. But they're creating the problem, actually.
So probably that's also why anarcho-capitalism is quite strong in Brazil. Talking about that, how is development in Europe? Does it exist? Do you have like partner organizations that you're pairing up, or?
I've been to some conferences in Mexico. Argentina, we have the first anarcho-capitalist president, so people are starting to understand that government is not helping them, but just a problem that needs to be solved, you know, because Milei is like changing many things there, and people are very happy with him. Like, the media will never say that, but people are happy with him. That will be impossible to hide in some years once Argentina gets back to how it was supposed to be. And it will be very hard to say that Milei is a bad president. The media is like attacking him all the time.
He don't like women.
Yeah.
He don't like
all the bad things that you can call him. They try to take a label and put it on him.
Yeah.
So,
but he's
Yeah, what he was doing was like shrinking the state, like the government, to a very minimum. So he was sending away representatives and he was shrinking the staff of all the ministers.
Ministerio de Ambiente y Desarrollo Sostenible, afuera. Ministerio de las Mujeres y Género y Diversidad, afuera. Ministerio de Obras Públicas, afuera. Aunque te resistas. Ministerio de Ciencia y Tecnología e Innovación, algo bien del sector privado. Nada bueno salió del sector público. ¡Afuera! Ministerio de Trabajo, Empleo y Seguridad Social. ¡Afuera! Ministerio de Educación. Adoctrinamiento. ¡Afuera!
He just got rid of the entire ministries.
Good. That's what it should do, because they're just wasting money there. In Argentina, there are like more than 40% of the population was working for the government. So, no, I think it was more than 50.
More than 50.
It was more than 50%. Imagine that less than 50% of people create wealth and more than 50% waste wealth. How is that going to work? It's impossible.
It's not sustainable.
Like people living from people paying taxes are less people than people living from taxes. It doesn't make any sense. So of course he needs to do a lot of cuts.
Yeah, and then they print money and the price go up.
And that's what Bitcoin fixes. The power of government to create money out of thin air with no backing, So just you have a printer and then you print, and then you have a lot of money. And then you think that that's okay. That's not going to be a problem in the future for the government, but for the people, everybody gets poorer once they do that. And they did that in Europe during the pandemic. And so in Europe, I think people are not realizing how bad governments are yet.
Is there,
because you're too comfortable. You don't have enough problem. You don't see the problem in government because you didn't arrive there. But you're going to that direction very fast. And in a few years, you will understand what we are talking. I hope that people would listen to us now and don't get to a very bad point. But I lived in Germany and I know how I try to raise awareness. It doesn't work. So I'm like, okay, then you try it, you fail, and then you learn with your mistakes. And then maybe you'll listen to me in 10 years or something.
We see a lot of problem in government, but have a lot of things that we don't see that have a problem. The children that don't born, the technology that don't exist, the companies that don't exist, have a lot of things that are not
obvious.
There's
so many problems that we cannot see because it's not directly caused by government, but it's indirectly. So we don't know how much richer, happier, and healthier and everything we could be if we didn't have an institution that only it's like a parasite sucking people's wealth all the time and destroying economy, destroying lives, destroying everything. So and teaching people that that's the only way they can live. If you say to someone, I'm an anarchist, they'll say, oh my God, are you going to burn my house or something? And you're like, no, I just think that people should not have a master, I think people are equal. We're all human and we are all the same. We should not have a master and we should not serve anyone that we don't want to. That's what it means. But they created a fake meaning of this word that it means something completely different.
It's not the absence of rules. It's absence of masters.
Yeah.
The anarchist way have a lot of rules, but voluntary rules, contractual rules.
How far do you see the progress in Brazil? Is someone listening to you? Is someone speaking up about that in Brasilia, for example? Are there developments that you think are good already, or is it very at the beginning, the idea? of
I don't
anarcho-capitalism?
think it's in the beginning anymore. Like for more than 10 years now, 15 years, we have people talking about it here, and it's growing. Like every time we have a very bad government, it grows more. So because people realize how bad everything is. Like, why do I need these people representing me? They're not doing that, you know. I don't. So now that we have a populist, socialist government again, that nobody likes, and I don't think he was really elected, anyways. I can go to jail because I said that. Okay. For in our democracy, I cannot question if it's legitimized or not. You know, like if he really won, I cannot question that. I can go to jail because I said that.
Yeah.
And like then people get pissed off because like I have a drunk, a robber, and he's the president. Okay, this guy should be in jail. He was in jail. So the Supreme Court took him out of jail because the Supreme Court are the people that he put there. So the president has the power to choose who is going to be the Supreme Court. And then the Supreme Court has the power to take him out of jail. It's like, how does this system even make sense? Anyone can understand that that's completely corrupt. And then he was in jail and now he's out of jail. He could not run for president. He probably didn't win, and he's there. And then people are like, why do I need all this system for? You know, like, I don't believe in this thing. It doesn't make any sense.
And then they need to pay the journalists, the teacher, a lot of money, the celebrities, the movies, the culture.
Yeah.
They need to pay a lot to make the wrong right.
They pay artists, they pay celebrities, and make movies and everything to convince the people that what they're doing is right. And we are just speaking the truth. And we are winning. You know, they have a lot of money to put in artists. But in the end, people know it's wrong. So the truth is much easier to be spread than lies. Lies are, you need to repeat lies many times to convince. And once you speak truth once, people understand. Because it's the truth. And so I think it's growing a lot, the movement here. I believe Brazil is the country that has more anarcho-capitalists in the world. I believe so. It's a lot of people. We have channels that talk only about that. They have more than 500,000 followers, you know. 1 million followers. Yeah. It's a lot of people. Because it's natural, you know, for Brazilians to be against the government. It's funny at the same time because we hate politicians. Like if you go anywhere in Brazil and you say, I hate politicians, they'll say, I hate them too. But at the same time, some people don't understand that we don't need them. So they like the state, but they hate politicians. It's like, it doesn't make much sense. But at some point, they realize that they don't like the state either. You know,
they are waiting to the safer of the entire life. Oh, this guy will save me. You know?
And in Brazil, we pay a lot of taxes. It's like 7 months in a year that you work for the government, and 5 months you work for yourself. Like that's how much taxes we pay in Brazil. It's insane. It's like it's more than half of your life you're working for the government. Yeah. To pay for all this nonsense and have nothing in return. You know, people don't have health, don't have security. Education's terrible, and you pay half of your time. You could be just enjoying life, you know, and you're like working to maintain a system that is bad for you.
I would like to know about this village that you're talking about, that you want to create. What is your idea behind it, and how should it look like? Or what is the special thing about it? Why not just, you know, living in a house together with your friends who think alike?
Nós estamos montando uma religião para viver de acordo com a nossa crença, de que é errado iniciar agressão a pessoas pacíficas e que tudo deveria ser voluntário. Então nós criamos uma religião, e as religiões elas têm várias questões fiscais, jurídicas, muitas proteções que você consegue não só no Brasil, como em vários outros países. Então, a religião, de fato, você consegue criar esse tipo de sistema. Então, voltando um pouquinho, porque cortou, a gente criou a religião para viver de acordo com nossa crença no voluntarismo, de que tudo é errado, e de tudo que tem coerção está errado. E as igrejas, elas têm várias proteções legais no Brasil. Então, a gente consegue se estruturar, e não só no Brasil, como em vários lugares do mundo. A gente planeja internacionalizar ela também, porque cada vez ela se torna mais robusta. E aí, a próxima etapa que a gente vai estar fazendo é construir um mosteiro que funciona como se fosse uma vila, onde as pessoas vão morar em um terreno que faz parte da igreja. E com isso elas conseguem viver de acordo com a fé dela, com a crença que está alinhada com a nossa, no voluntarismo, de que tudo deveria ser voluntário. Então, todo o sistema da religião, ele é organizado através de um modelo de DAO, que é uma organização autônoma descentralizada para não se corromper nele mesmo. Então, tudo é auditável, tudo é público, e aí com isso você gera incentivos corretos para tomadas de boas decisões. Então, não é um político que está lá para enriquecer a família dele ou para beneficiar os amigos. Não, são pessoas trabalhando para valorizar, para tornar o projeto mais robusto. Porque quanto maior for, mais também ela vai estar ganhando com isso. Então você alinhou os incentivos. E aí você vai ter uma prosperidade sendo criada.
And then this prosperity is shared among the people, or is it just your personal prosperity that you're working for?
I'm working for my prosperity. I have my prosperity. If I don't take to the others, I need to serve them till they pay me voluntarily.
Prosperity will come with other people's prosperity. The only way for him to be prosperous is that the people living in the village are prosperous as well. Because they are happy customers, or like people, not customers, but like people living the way they want to live. So they are agreeing with the monastery. Because if they want to leave and don't agree with anymore, they can just, we are not following them to take their money from them like the government does, like you have no option to quit. In our system, you have the option to quit.
We need to serve you very well to stay.
Yeah, you only stay if you're happy with the village.
How did you two come to anarcho-capitalism? What was there? Was there a situation or a person that gave the initial start of you two into it? What's your story?
I was working in the stock market, and then I realized that they are unethical. They are very, very far to the truth way. They don't know what is money, the difference of money and currency and money. They don't know a lot of things that was basic to teach how to invest your money. And then I started to read the Austrian economists that have the
Austrian economic school. There's like a school of economics, and then it's from Austria. Ludwig von Mises, The Sixth Lesson. So it's a very famous book.
Yeah,
Okay.
very good book. And then I realized that I'm a slave, and I need to build a way to get out of this slavery system.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is my story, and you can say how we meet each other.
Yeah. So my story, I was living in Italy. I already left Brazil because I'm like, I hate all the politicians here, they're going to ruin my life, so I'm going to build wealth somewhere else. I left, and then I was studying in Italy, and then I start listening to YouTube videos like with TED Talks, and because I was very curious, and then I was like searching for the truth in many ways. And then on YouTube, I had a suggestion of an anarcho-capitalist YouTuber in Brazil. And then I started listening to him. I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. That's the truth. And then I was like, okay. And then I start being a libertarian with a minimum state, right? The first step was like, okay, for sure we don't need state to control the baker, of course. But we need a state for justice and for security, and health I already knew was bullshit. But some things was harder to get rid of. And once you keep studying it, it makes more and more sense. We don't need government to provide security. I realized that. And then the last step was justice and law. And once I realized that, I was like, okay, so I'm 100% anarchist. Like, we really don't need the government. It just makes worse. So I was only with reading books and searching on YouTube, and it appeared to me, and I was already inclined to this type of message. So it was a good algorithm that found me. And then I moved to Germany. And I worked there for a while. I was already anarchist, and then it was very hard for me to talk about that with people in Germany. They're not very open to this type of things. And then I was feeling very not aligned with my values, because I didn't stay quiet. I would still say what I think. But that would create a very bad environment around myself, and people would treat me bad or like don't want to talk to me anymore and this type of things.
That was in Germany. Sorry to interrupt. That was in Germany where you experienced that.
Yes.
Interesting.
So Germans are very close-minded about that, and because I believe that it's because the government. You still have some services. You see where the money goes, and some of the money comes back in some government services. And also it's like education. You're taught to believe in government, to follow the government and all these things. So it's really propaganda, like it's brainwashing propaganda. And so it was very, very hard for me to be myself and to say what I think. And then I decided to leave. I said, okay. Then the pandemic started, and then I saw how people behaved in Germany, and I was like, oh my God, I need to get out of here, because like I don't like this order following. I don't like people that
don't have questioners.
They don't question authority. They just follow the orders. And I was like, guys, don't you see any relation to this and what happened in the past in Germany? And no, nobody realized. And I was like, okay, I'm out. I'm going to a place that people question authority and don't follow rules. I'm going back home. And it's funny because I left because people didn't follow rules and are unorganized, and I came back for the same reason, It's just the circumstances were different. And then I joined Fragismo, which is his project of making this really based on a YouTuber, also a Brazilian YouTuber that was an anarcho-capitalist.
What's his name?
Fraga.
Daniel Fraga.
Daniel Fraga. So the Fragismo is like his last name. Fraga was someone that lived in alignment with his values, and he would not let the government bully him until he stopped or harass him, He would just keep saying what he thinks, and he was persecuted, and he had to leave the country. But he won the battle in the end because he switched all his money from reais to Bitcoin. So the government blocked his account, his bank account, but he had no money there anymore because he took everything, changed to Bitcoin, and flipped. So this guy, it's like he's a badass, you know. He's like, you're not taking my money because I have the technology to make you don't attack, like don't persecute me because I'm speaking my mind.
Yeah.
You don't have the right to come after me because I'm saying what I think is right.
And they and he say, good luck to take my Bitcoin.
Yeah, try to take my Bitcoin, he said. You're not taking any of it.
You can't.
You can't. You don't have power over me, you know?
Yeah.
So he's like a legend in Brazil for the libertarian
anarcho-capitalist.
Yeah, for the movement. And then he created the fragismo, and I joined it. And we're doing it for for 2 years there. He's 4 years the fragismo. And
three and a half.
Yeah. And then we have we are already a religion, official religion in Brazil. So it's like official, and now we are making the next steps. Like we want to build a place where people can live in alignment with their values and don't follow the statist religion. Believing in government is a religion because it's not based in reality, it's not based in facts, it's not based in logic, it's based in dogma and indoctrination. We have our own religion that is aligned with the natural law. Mm-hmm. So the government has their religion, which is statism, and we have our own religion, which is natural law. Mm-hmm. So we are realigning with the real human rights, which is life, property, and freedom. Mm-hmm. And we leave their statist religion.
We are quitting.
We quit. We are out, you know.
But you're not giving away your passport, I guess. If you're traveling, is it still an option for you?
Yeah, actually, it's illegal what they do, right? That they tell you need a paper to travel. We are free. Birds don't have passports and they cross borders, right? Yeah. Why we need papers to cross borders? That doesn't make any sense. Because they made a line and said, okay, so everybody that lives here belongs to me, and all their property belongs to me. That's government.
And
I'm like, I don't agree with that. I'm a free human being. I'm sorry, but I'm here, and you didn't help me to come to this world. And I'm like, that's not how it works. You know?
I'm not yours.
I'm not your slave. I'm sorry. I'm not a slave. I'm a free human being, and I'm going to live in alignment with that.
And the church's leaders have
the diplomatic passport.
Diplomatic passport.
We are showing them that their laws don't apply to us because that is part of their religion and we are not part of that. You have the choice to step out and not to be part of that religion because you have freedom of religion, and I don't want to be part of that. You know, I don't agree with violence. I don't want to be part of a religion that is violating people all the time and starting aggression.
We don't want to put money in criminals, in drug dealers, and war.
We don't want to finance wars, you know? Doesn't matter which side.
I think no one wants, Yeah,
and everybody is doing that, you know? Because they don't see that there is an option, and they still protect government. Because we say, you don't need to be a slave to government. And people's like, no, but they get offended when you tell them that they're a slave and they're paying for something that they don't agree. Yeah. They're supporting wars.
the first
And
step.
people like the first reaction is like coming against us. It's like we are not the people harming each other. Like your religion, statism, is killing people a lot. For centuries, they're killing people.
For millennials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wars all happen because governments want to be in war. And they don't fight. The politicians are not there killing
That's
each
true.
other.
Yeah.
They send their slaves to kill each other, and they're like,
I'm okay in my city, in my desk, comfortable desk. And with the first step is stop to use the estatal money.
Yeah.
We need to stop to use dollar. We need to stop to use euro. Yen, real, pesos. We need to use Bitcoin.
Yeah.
We need to stop to send money for them, and then start to use the peace money, the freedom money,
People's money.
people's money.
That's what it is, actually.
Yeah.
It was created by people to be used by people, and no governments have power over it. If you know how to use it, that's why it's important to learn. That's why we have conference also, and there are many books. There are people teaching it for free in the internet all the time, because once you understand Bitcoin and you understand the power that it has, you want to teach everybody for free. Spend 7,000 reais in 1 month teaching people how to use Bitcoin.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
So you really believe in it, and you think it's,
Of course.
like it's freeing
Like
us, liberating us.
Of course, because I want to live. That's not a good investment if it works, because I will be living in a freer world, and I want that. And it I would pay more than that to live in the free world, So it's like, we're doing our part, and we hope people will try to understand what we are talking about and study about it, and be also a part of the solution, and stop believing that the system that we live is the only way, because it's not. And the conference that I organize, it's about bringing solutions, bringing the tools that exist that are in your reach to implement that in your life. So Bitcoin is one of them. Blockchain is one of them. DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, another thing. So there, all the talks we had. Self-defense, and
body improve.
Yeah, health. We had also about health, about diet, about natural cures that you can do yourself.
So it's more about, it is more than just having the system that you live in. It's about liberating yourself, liberating your mind, your body, your spirit, everything. So it's a lifestyle.
It's the salvation is individual. So we're not trying to save others. If you save yourself, you save others. You should not try to teach people how to live. They will need to do themselves. So
it's like a self-improve.
Yeah, you free your mind, your body, your money, and then you're free. You can create solutions to help other people be free too. So that's the idea.
I think that's a very nice ending for our conversation. Thank you very much for your time.